Welcome to International Student Brief. The content of the briefing includes tips and tricks for quickly paying off student loans. U.S. medical schools grapple with first admissions since end of affirmative action. Favorite books to gift, Indie Newsroom, make their picks. Achieve top grades or face being kicked out of UK, student visa migrants to be told. The UNIS set to lose millions of dollars in international student crackdown. Tips and tricks for quickly paying off student loans. Yahoo! Student loans can be a major financial burden, but with proper planning, you can save money by paying them off more quickly. Here are some tips and tricks to help you pay off student loans faster. You can increase your monthly payment by contacting your lender or loan servicer and increasing your monthly automatic payment amount. Instead of making one monthly payment, split it in half and make a payment every 2 weeks. This way, you will make one full extra monthly payment per year. Set up automatic payments to save time and get an interest rate discount of 0.25% to 0.50%. Use the debt snowflake method to pay down your debt using small savings, like coupons, cashback rewards, and found money. Apply windfalls, such as tax refunds or performance bonuses, to your student loans. Increase your income by asking for a raise, working overtime, or getting a side hustle. Consider refinancing your loans if you have a steady job and a solid income. Refinancing can secure a lower interest rate and shorten your repayment term. However, make sure you can keep up with the higher monthly payment. U.S. medical schools grapple with first admissions since end of affirmative action. Bloomberg. The National Medical Association, NMA, is raising money for a new scholarship in a bid to diminish the impact of the Supreme Court's ruling to outlaw race-based college admissions on the pipeline of future Black doctors. Underrepresentation has long been a problem, with just 5.2% of practicing physicians in the U.S. being Black. The cost of this disparity is substantial, showing up in worse health outcomes for Black patients and deteriorating trust in the healthcare system. The Association of American Medical Colleges will also get involved in K-12 education for the first time. The NMA and the AAMC have stated that there is no single solution and that instead, hurdles from the earliest years of education through medical school and beyond must be removed. A 2022 study found that as few as 3% of Black students display advanced mathematics or science compared with up to 16% of white students. In high school, Black student representation falls short in the math and science courses highlighted by the AAMC as useful to prepare for medical training. Favorite books to gift, Indie Newsroom, make their picks. The Independent. As the holiday season approaches, writers at The Independent share their favorite literary gifts to give to loved ones. Jesse Thompson, arts editor, recommends The Cazalet Chronicles by Elizabeth Jane Howard, a 5-volume family saga that is the epitome of comfort reading. Victoria Richards, voices editor, suggests The Cost of Living by Deborah Levy, the second book in a memoir trilogy that explores womanhood and one's place in the world. Lewis Chilton, culture writer, recommends Lint by Steve Aylett, a fictionalized biography of science fiction writer Jeff Lint that is hilarious and absurd. Other recommendations include Heartburn by Nora Ephron, A Question of Upbringing by Anthony Powell, Educated by Tara Westover, Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, Everything in Moderation by Daniel Finkelstein, Weird Medieval Guys by Olivia M. Swarthout, Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason, The Snow Leopard by Peter Matheson, and A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. The writers emphasize the importance of choosing books that provide pleasure and enjoyment for the reader, rather than feeling like a homework assignment. Achieve top grades or face being kicked out of UK, student visa migrants to be told. Telegraph. Foreign students in the UK could be denied 2-year graduate visas if they fail to achieve high enough grades, according to the Migration Advisory Committee, MAC. Currently, the visa is granted to students regardless of their academic performance. The proposal comes as part of a 5-point plan to reduce net migration by 300,000. Critics argue that the visa is being used as a backdoor to low-skilled work in the UK or simply as a way to stay in the country for 2 years. The UNIS set to lose millions of dollars in international student crackdown. The Sydney Morning Herald. Victoria University, Federation University, Wollongong University, and Newcastle University are among the institutions in Australia whose ability to recruit international students is at risk under the government's new migration strategy. The strategy aims to cut new arrivals by targeting universities and colleges that are considered high risk for accepting students who come to the country to work rather than study. The move could result in the loss of tens of millions of dollars in revenue for these institutions. This is the European city where expats are the happiest, research finds. Yahoo! According to the Internation's 2023 Expat City Rankings, Malaga, Spain is the best place in Europe for expat life. The city is praised for its friendly locals, quality of life, and personal finance. Two other Spanish cities, Alicante and Valencia, also made it into the top 3. In contrast, Rome and Milan were ranked poorly, scoring below average for quality of life and available work. The rankings were created using data from the annual Expat Insider Survey, which polled over 12,000 participants about their experiences living and working abroad. South Korean president's trips abroad attract growing scrutiny. Nikkei Asia. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has embarked on a state visit to the Netherlands, his 16th overseas trip since taking office. The trip follows criticism of the costs of the visits at a time when the administration is reducing government spending, and questions about whether Yoon's trips are achieving results. The costs of the trips have been estimated at an average of KRW 57.8 bn, $43.8 million, per year, according to Democratic Party lawmaker Park Hong-kun, compared to the KRW 16.3 bn and KRW 18.2 bn spent by Yoon's predecessors. Australia's migrant intake blew out to 510,000. Students are central to the plan to have that. The Sydney Morning Herald. Australia plans to have its net migration within 2 years, slashing the annual intake from a record high of 510,000 by imposing tougher tests on overseas students and turning away workers with low skills. The new migration strategy will demand students pass a stronger English language test and will require them to prove they are genuine students before they enter the country and make it harder for them to stay if they do not find jobs that help fix the nation's skills shortages. The books we give as gifts. The Independent. With the festive season approaching, writers at The Independent have shared their recommendations for books that make great gifts. The selections cover a range of genres and themes, from classic novels to contemporary memoirs. Some of the recommendations include The Light Years by Elizabeth Jane Howard, The Cost of Living by Deborah Levy, Reunion by Fred Ullman, Heartburn by Nora Ephron, and Educated by Tara Westover. Each writer provides a brief explanation of why they believe their chosen book is an ideal gift. Whether you're looking for a heartwarming family saga, an insightful memoir, or a hilarious novel, this list has you covered. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your favorite observer from the 6 Degrees world, Dr. Six. Today, we've got a mix of news stories that cover everything from student loans to medical school admissions, literary gift recommendations, visa policies for international students, expat life, presidential trips, and migration strategies. Quite a diverse set, isn't it? Let's start with student loans. The burden that many of us can relate to. But fear not, my friends, for there are tips and tricks to help you pay off those loans faster. You can increase your monthly payments, split your payments every 2 weeks, use the debt snowflake method, apply windfalls, increase your income, and even consider refinancing. Just remember, always make sure you can handle the higher monthly payments if you choose to refinance. Moving on to medical schools in the US. The underrepresentation of black doctors has long been a problem, and the recent ruling to outlaw race-based college admissions has only made matters worse. The National Medical Association is raising money for scholarships, and the Association of American Medical Colleges is getting involved in K-12 education. It's a multifaceted issue that requires action at all levels of education to ensure more diversity in the medical field. Now, let's talk about literary gifts. As the holiday season approaches, the writers at The Independent have shared their favorite books to give to loved ones. From family sagas to memoirs to hilarious novels, there's something for everyone. Remember, the key is to choose books that bring pleasure and enjoyment, not ones that feel like a homework assignment. So, spread the joy of reading this holiday season. Shifting gears to visa policies, foreign students in the UK may face the possibility of being denied graduate visas if they don't achieve high enough grades. Critics argue that the visa is being misused as a backdoor to low-skilled work or as a way to stay in the country for 2 years. Meanwhile, in Australia, universities risk losing millions of dollars in revenue due to a new migration strategy that targets institutions considered high risk for accepting students who come to work instead of study. Tougher English language tests and stricter requirements are on the horizon. In the realm of expat life, Malaga in Spain takes the crown as the best city in Europe for expats, according to the Internation's 2023 Expat City Rankings. Friendly locals, quality of life, and personal finance are some of the factors that earned Malaga the top spot. On the other hand, Rome and Milan scored poorly for quality of life and available work. Now, let's turn our attention to South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol. His overseas trips have come under scrutiny due to their costs and questions about their effectiveness. Critics argue that at a time of reduced government spending, the costs of these trips are excessive. It's a matter that raises eyebrows and invites debate. Last but not least, Australia plans to have its net migration within 2 years by imposing tougher tests on overseas students and turning away low-skilled workers. The aim is to address the nation's skill shortages and ensure that migrants contribute to the country's workforce. It's a strategy that will impact the intake of international students and the overall migration landscape. And there you have it, my friends, a roundup of the latest news stories. Now, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these topics? Do you have any tips for paying off student loans? Have you read any of the recommended books? What do you think about the visa policies and migration strategies? Let's discuss and keep the conversation going. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.